scoring a conspiracy themes something.
Like the next Born Identity or the next, I don't know what other big conspiracy movies there are.
Yeah, the feature, the next QAnon film that comes out.
You know it's going to happen, absolutely.
Yeah,
there's no way there's not going to be a movie about QAnon.
Multiple ones.
National Treasure 4.
National Treasure 4, yeah.
Oh my god, I want
the original conspiracy film.
I want Nicolas Cage to hunt down just hunt through the dark web.
I mean, something I really appreciate about your mix is I think like it starts out in this like space that really breaks down your conception of music in some ways, so it feels like a kind of like deprogramming, and then like as it goes into more of like a consistent beat, you're kind of reprogrammed, so you're like going through this like cycle.
That's a great way to look at it. Yeah, I think that's why I wanted to start with like the more broken beat, non-conventional rhythms first, and then kind of move towards a bit of a 4/4 to have that consistency throughout. So I guess I think it's a good way to put it in terms of establishing that deprogramming.
Swap the Terminator in all the Terminator movies with Danny DeVito. I would love for him to be like, oh, this is what standard humans look like, and he is the ultimate killing machine.
Are you saying that you would swap the Terminator robot with Danny DeVito, so when like Arnold Schwarzenegger gets hit, underneath him is Danny DeVito, or Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger?
And I kind of wanted to show in my piece like a way in which conspiracy is like almost out of survival and a necessity, and not necessarily something so immediately like negative and bought into. Like it's almost like something that is a bit more human. And so I kind of wanted to show the side of moving through an illness kind of into these dark spaces, and kind of how you can't back out, because like to back out, to have that uncertainty is to kind of be in this very uncomfortable place, quite literally, personally. Yeah, the artwork, I guess, too, came out of this like concept of, so I spent a ton of time reading through every single cue drop, and that I found. Yeah, I know. I have to say, like, during the time of writing this, I've never felt like closer to accidentally like falling off.
Closer to the truth.
But yeah, no, I was reading all of them, and they have like just these amazing phrases. Like you see why people kind of want to join, because they're affirmational. And so I wanted to, originally I had an idea to make like cue affirmations, but like as an idea of an off-ramp, like to have a series where you could go from like things that are very typically cue, like there are lines in here that are from that, like mistakes are your roadmap. Mm-hmm. That was from a cue drop. Like they're littered in there, and you kind of can't tell because they actually, like I said, they really borrow from this kind of aspiration, kind of like spiritual guru vernacular almost. So that's kind of where this like artwork kind of came from. And then it ended up being, and so like God Woke You Up for a Reason is something that's repeated over and over in a lot of those cue drops.
I'm trying to think of an animal that spends a lot of time doing the same thing. That's what my life has felt like the past couple of days. Just like long stretches of the same for a while. And it's not necessarily good the same, not necessarily bad the same, just long stretches.
Does the animal care that it's the same?
I think it's just sort of like what it does. And I was kind of thinking of like frigate birds or like albatross, just like kind of uncomfortably, but like biologically suited to soaring for like a really long time. That was sort of where.
And they get real high.
They do. Real high. For real long.
My spirit animal is Keanu Reeves. Specifically, like Point Break, Keanu Reeves.
That's
Like
a good
John
Keanu
Utah.
Reeves.
That's the energy I try to channel on a day-to-day basis. Like Point Break, Keanu Reeves to John Wick. Yeah, Keanu Reeves. That's a spectrum for me.
Marisa, got a spirit animal?
I don't know. I really want to say I'm like a lizard or a frog, but like in reality, I'm probably more like a snow cat, which I hate cats. So
I think cats hate other cats. So I mean, there you go.
I know. So it works out.
How did you come to hate cats?
Oh, I had one.
It's like parenting. It's like parenting.
I mean, they're fine. I think we had like a particularly difficult cat. And then I got a dog, and I was like, oh wow, this whole time I had a cat, I was just trying to have a dog, and yeah.
Again, just like parenting. I thought I wanted a kid. Turns out I wanted a dog. All right, so Tyler, yours is the architectural, conceptual piece.
Yeah. I think I mentioned earlier, I've just been kind of nerding out on architecture lately, and trying to suss out some thoughts in that world. And just like Matt, kind of a design punter. I get my kicks just sort of like dipping into different design spaces and exploring them a little bit. And when we started talking about what we wanted to do with the zine, I think like this sort of sprung out of writing club, and started thinking about how we might do other types of media for the zine as well, and doing a 3D rendered building felt very like on brand for an NFT release. So figured I'd set out and try and like figure out how one would like represent a conspiracy in like a formal capacity. Formal meaning like form-based, which was harder than I thought it would be, because it's not as, I feel like conspiracies in general are pretty amorphous. They're pretty like strung out and networked, and they sort of not restrict, but kind of like keep themselves away from being represented. They like don't want to be represented, or like easily navigable. That kind of like is counter to their nature. So what I settled on doing was coming up with a new model for how we might represent like height, width, and depth and using that as a way to track the form in space. The dimensions that I sort of picked for the piece were connectedness or networkedness, or synergy, I think I actually called it in the piece itself. And then kind of malice, like the sort of like the evilness behind the actions described in Conspiracy, and the wow, I'm totally spacing on my third one now. The evidence. I mean, let me zoom in back here. The evidential kind of like qualities of the different parts of the conspiracy, like how many people saw it, how clear is it, how much do people really believe it, how logical is it. At the end of each of those sort of threads are like construction sites, because like the conspiracy is sort of like self-manufacturing itself. It's continuing to build itself out, build itself up, and the tools are all there for whoever wants to kind of show up and keep building, because inevitably someone will. Someone will come up with whatever the next, logical conclusion that follows, like the Lucifer event, and then add on to that.
You have all these different little exits.
Yeah. Another piece of it was that also from like any point in the building, there's these ropes that you can use to climb down. So like at any point, if you want to kind of get off, there's a really easy and quick way to get down. But it takes sort of acknowledging that you are wrong and kind of hanging out in the open to actually get down to the ground. There's also a sizable drop at the end of the rope. The rope never changes in length, so the higher up you go, the further the fall is.
Oof.
That's so cool. I didn't realize that at first.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I love like you have to basically acknowledge like you're up here to get down.
Yeah. It's like instead of going deeper down the rabbit hole, it's like you're going farther up the building. It's like that same concept.
Yeah.
I'd love to see one of these on like Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
Are you taking commissions?
Yeah, that shit would sell like crazy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lead us out of this thing. Stay on after, and we can just chat, debrief.
Cool.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank everybody for listening. This is episode 10 of our Mochi podcast. Adios.
Bye.